Welcome to today's Explainer. Let's just dive right in, shall we? I mean, drones are literally everywhere right now. They're capturing those crazy cinematic shots, mapping out huge farms, even dropping off packages at your front door. But look, when you step up from buzzing a little toy drone around your backyard on a Sunday to flying heavy, pro-grade equipment for an actual business here in Australia, yeah, the rules change, and they change fast. So today, we're demystifying your golden ticket to the professional skies, the CASA Remote Pilot License, or RePL, theoretical exam. We're going to break down exactly what you're up against, put you in the hot seat with some real questions, and show you the absolute smartest way to make sure you pass on the first try. Now, you might be sitting there wondering, what's the big deal with this license anyway? Well, the CASA RePL isn't just some boring piece of paper. It is your official legal ticket to flying medium-sized excluded drones. And we're talking serious hardware here, machines weighing anywhere from 25 kilos up to a whopping 150 kilograms. That is no joke. Plus, it lets you work professionally under an RPA operator certificate, or REOC, which a business usually holds. Basically, if you want to get into high-end commercial filmmaking, advanced agriculture, or fly anywhere near controlled airspace, this license, it's your mandatory step one. So let's talk about the test itself. And honestly, when you boil it down to the raw numbers, it sounds almost deceivingly simple. Let's look at the flight parameters for the general theoretical exam. The whole thing, it consists of exactly 60 multiple choice questions. That's the whole shebang. Just 60 questions standing between you and your commercial flying career. But hey, don't let that small number fool you. These questions cast a massive net. We're talking complex topics from aerodynamics and meteorology to air law and human factors. And definitely don't get too comfortable, because you do not have all day to sit around pondering those 60 questions. You are up against a strict 120-minute time limit. Yep, exactly 2 hours to read, digest, and confidently lock in every single answer. If you do the math, that averages out to just 2 minutes per question. So you can't just sorta know the material. You gotta have it down cold and be able to recall it fast, right there under pressure. Which brings us to the most crucial number of all, 70%. That right there is your magic number. You absolutely must hit a 70% pass mark to walk away with that license. So out of those 60 questions, you need to nail at least 42 of them perfectly. There's honestly very little room for guessing when real-world aviation safety is on the line. All right, Section 1, the Flight Simulator Pop Quiz. We're going to put you right in the pilot's seat to test your knowledge with 3 real exam questions. Okay, here's your first official simulated question, pulled straight from the source materials on air traffic control. When operating in controlled airspace, what must a remote pilot do? Just take a second to picture the gravity of that. You're flying a 100-kilo drone in an area where actual passenger jets might be flying. All right, take a look at the options. Is it A, obtain clearance from the local police department, B, maintain two-way communication with air traffic control, also known as ATC, C, fly at an altitude below 400 feet, or D, follow their own flight plan without notifying ATC? Read through those. Go ahead and lock in your guess right now. And the correct answer is B, maintain two-way communication with air traffic control. This perfectly illustrates the absolute core of aviation safety. When you're in controlled airspace, you must be in contact with ATC. Why? Because the sky is a constantly moving puzzle. Two-way communication ensures you can instantly receive instructions and critical updates about manned aircraft buzzing around your area. It's all about keeping everyone in the sky on the exact same page. Okay, smooth flying so far. Let's tackle our second scenario, focusing on strict airspace and altitude regulations. Here's the question. According to Australian regulations, what is the maximum altitude that a remotely piloted aircraft, or RPA, can fly in controlled airspace without obtaining special permission? Let's assess those limits. Is it A, 100 feet above ground level, B, 200 feet AGL, C, 400 feet AGL, or D, 500 feet AGL? Try to think about where that invisible ceiling has to be before you start getting tangled up with low-flying planes and helicopters. Make your choice. Well, if you guessed C, you hit the nail on the head.
The hard ceiling without special permission is 400 feet above ground level. And listen, this isn't just some random number they pulled out of a hat. It is a vital buffer designed specifically to protect manned aircraft operating in that same airspace. Since manned aircraft typically stay above 500 feet, capping drones at 400 creates this mandatory 100-foot safety buffer to prevent mid-air collisions. Makes total sense, right?
All right, it's time for our third and final high-stakes simulated question. This one deals with critical emergency procedures. The question reads, in an emergency situation, what should a remote pilot do first? Take a really close look at these options, because in an emergency, our natural human panic instinct can definitely lead us astray. Do you A, immediately land the aircraft, B, assess the situation and take appropriate action, C, notify air traffic control of the emergency, or D, activate the emergency locator transmitter? What is your immediate split-second move? And the answer is B, assess the situation and take appropriate action. Now, what's really fascinating here is that option A, just immediately landing, feels like the safest bet when you're panicking, right? Just get the thing on the ground. But as the exam material highlights, instantly dropping a heavy drone out of the sky could be incredibly dangerous. I mean, what if you're over a busy highway or a crowd of people? Assessing the specific circumstances is always the vital first step before you execute any emergency maneuver. So how did you do? If you went 3 for 3, absolutely fantastic. But if you didn't, hey, don't sweat it. That's exactly why preparation is so crucial. There is a massive difference between going in blind versus using a proper test prep tool. Trying to just memorize dry CASA regulations and hoping you can pull them out of your brain for a timed 60-question test? Yeah, that's just a recipe for a whole lot of stress. But thankfully, there is a much smarter way to handle this. Enter your ultimate co-pilot for success, EasyQuiz.com. This platform is literally designed to mirror the actual CASA RePL test environment. They hook you up with a database of 247 always up-to-date questions, categorized perfectly across the 8 specific exam topics. And what's really cool is their online web simulator. You can flip it to a laid-back practice mode to learn the ropes, or crank it up to a strict, timed exam mode to really build up your pressure tolerance. Oh, and if you're always on the go, they have a mobile app for iOS and Android that works totally offline, meaning you can knock out some study time no matter where you are. So what's the big takeaway here? The CASA RePL exam is tough, it's strictly timed, and it demands high accuracy. But honestly, with 98% of people passing on their very first attempt after training with simulators like EasyQuiz, there is absolutely no reason you can't be next. Are you ready to graduate from backyard flying and take real command of the commercial skies? Because the sky isn't the limit anymore, it's your new workplace. So here's the real question. When that 120-minute timer starts ticking down, are you going to be blindly guessing, or are you going to be fully prepped and ready for takeoff? Start studying, and we'll see you up there.